DDG episode 247. My name is Dave, and I'm joined by Michael.
Dave, how's it going? We're in a weird world now, and I'm just back from a convention, so I was sick for like the last day and a half, but I started to get my second wind. How are you doing? How you been?
I'm all right, other than like we had a 30-degree shift in weather today. Like it was 75 degrees yesterday, and then it was like 60 degrees this morning, and I went to work, and then it rained for like a half an hour, and I walked outside, and it was like 40 degrees.
I'm like I'm gonna be annoying this summer and spring because I have a house now and a backyard. So like even though I've been not feeling well the last 2 days, I still go in my yard, touch some grass. I own grass, Dave.
Yeah, we're gonna like he's gonna take a laptop outside and record outside one day.
Yeah. I mean, I planted a bunch of flowers the last couple weeks. I planted catnip so my cats can go out.
But say you live in Chicago, right? Like it's gonna snow.
They come. I specifically looked for flowers that are perennials that can survive Chicago winter.
You know what you must say. Fake spring exists, right?
No. And I planted like a month ago, so I've already been through fake spring. Now it's just Chicago spring, and then we're just gonna get summer probably in like 2 days. Like that. This is how it goes. We're gonna go from 60 to like 95, and I'm gonna be miserable, not wanting to touch grass. Just stay inside and run AC.
You'll learn the art of a very comfortable and cool basement. No matter what, no matter how much your AC is running, it's
I'm
like
in a basement right
to come
now.
Downstairs.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. All right, so we are Digital Days Gaming. We're a weekly podcast that posts Thursday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern Time. We record the show live on Twitch and YouTube, typically on Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern Time-ish. Twitch.tv/Digital Days Gaming. YouTube.com/Digital Days Gaming. We have Discord, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Blue Sky. That is all linked in the show notes. The priority, if I had to order our social media in priority, I would say Discord is number one. And right now, quickly, Blue Sky has moved up to number two because it actually works and functions like we want it to.
Yep. When I do the refresh thing, it refreshes.
Yeah, Facebook, I think, is ahead of X.
If I could remember to sign into Facebook, I would agree with you, Dave, but my Twitter account has not signed me out, so I'm pretty set on that. But yeah.
So you can check those things out. They should all be linked in the show notes, or you can go to the website, digitaldaysgaming.com, and check all that out. And like I said, you can watch us on Twitch, link your Twitch account and your Amazon account, and get Prime Gaming, get a bunch of free stuff in the video game world, as well as a free subscription to the streamer of your choice. And you can watch us on YouTube. You can subscribe on YouTube. That's free. You can follow on Twitch. That's free. You can subscribe on Twitch. That costs money. And then you can also just subscribe to our RSS feed on YouTube and watch a still image of the show, as well as you can just hit the archives on YouTube as well. So with that being said, we're going to jump into the news.
Yeah, jumping into the news, we have to unfortunately talk about tariffs, and it's going to be a common theme for the next probably month to 90 days. Specifically, we're going to be focusing on Nitnendo, a little bit of other companies affected by it, but according to reports, Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders may be coming to Canada on April 23rd. This is after Canada had their pre-orders delayed to line up with the delays for pre-orders in the US, though this could mean the US would be not too far behind because the initial thought was they are delaying Canada because they don't want U.S. people to go into Canada and eat up Switches, especially because the Canadian dollar is weaker right now. So that could mean the U.S. is right around the corner if these days hold true for Canada. According to a Chinese component supplier, Nintendo could possibly expect to be hit by a 145% tariff on their systems if the tariffs continue to go, especially over the next 90 days. According to Nintendo of America CEO Doug Bowser, Nintendo already has shipped hundreds of thousands of units of the Switch 2 to America in preparation for the tariffs and the launch, which makes sense. Launch is relatively soon. You wouldn't want to save that last second.
Correct. However, that's still a dangerous vocal statement. Like, he's saying some things out of his mouth that, I mean, I understand that Nintendo probably has control of him and they know that he's saying these things, but now we're talking about 2 weeks in a row where two things have come out of his mouth that don't really make a lot of business financial sense.
Yeah, because the first thing we're talking about is that if you want to play a Nintendo game, we have the Switch 1 if you can't afford the Switch 2. And then this one is just like, hey, we have hundreds of thousands, which is not a lot. which could create.
It's not a lot, but it also like if and when they do have to raise prices and they don't match with math, people are going to be upset. Like, yes, to your point, they're like the X amount of units is not a lot of units, but if all of a sudden if all of a sudden Nintendo raises prices because of tariffs, that means that they went through whatever they had in the store or whatever they had in the country already, obviously.
Yeah.
And that could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. Like if they have to raise their prices after like 2 weeks, it's probably a great thing for Nintendo. If it takes them 2 months to raise their prices because stuff doesn't settle down, maybe it's not moving like they want it to move.
But my fear from this, which is what could get Nintendo not necessarily in trouble, but could leave a bad taste in people's mouth, is this could cause a fever for resellers, scalpers, just regular hardcore fans are going to want, because they're going to be like, all right, we have an idea of how many units are able to be captured. Let's go crazy and let's go back to the Wii days of scalping or the PS5 days during the pandemic.
Just do, if you want to switch to, just do your due diligence. Register on Nintendo's site when it's available. I'm sure that between Michael and myself, we'll try to keep some of these links posted as we see them. I would just play it safe at this point in time. I mean, Michael can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that Nintendo's site directly would be priority number 1. I would say Amazon is probably priority number 2, if possible. I mean, Amazon's in a weird place right now with some of the stuff they've been saying as well. And then I would say like Target, Best Buy would be
Best
like
Buy, I think, said they're doing a midnight
3.
launch. We'll see if that has to change. But this could mean that if you do want to switch to, your best bet is going to be a pre-order. They're not going to probably be units just available.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to be able to walk into a store and buy these. Like, no.
I think before,
if you are, it's going to be like chaos.
Yeah, but I think before there might have been a plan for that to be the case, but now retailers might just want to hold back a little bit. Though if you're a Best Buy Target, you're probably worried about people not wanting to come to the stores due to high prices of everything in the store, that you maybe are like, well, we kind of wanted this to bring people in.
Yeah, but we've also seen them do, I mean, and this was post-pandemic a little bit, and then I think they used the pandemic as an excuse for a little bit of buy online, pick up at store. Like, you still
that's still going to be a thing.
Yeah, but like you weren't able to ever walk in, even if a Best Buy or a Target had 100 PS5s in the building, you weren't able to walk in and ask for one and go to the register and check out. Like, you had to purchase it and pick it up. You had to purchase it online and pick it up. So I think that's also like just, my retail life now is like, I think that's just safer and smarter and just
do what
a
I'm
more
gonna
efficient
do.
way.
I'm going to pre-order it, and then I'm going to take the day off when it's supposed to be shipped, so I don't deal with like people stealing the package.
Yeah. Thankfully, I mean, like, I'm 5 minutes from home, literally.
Yeah. Just take a lunch and then just go make sure it doesn't get stolen. According to sources, Nintendo is expected to keep the $450 price while they have inventory, and then they'll reevaluate the price once the Vietnam 46% tariff goes into place in 90 days. If that goes into place, because there's still chance negotiation, back downs. We've already seen the back down like 3 or 4 times from the administration. So Nintendo is looking at that 46% tariff in Vietnam, even though Vietnam only accounts for like a small percentage of Switch 2 production. But I imagine they're already working with China and Vietnam of just like...
It's going to be a larger percentage than it was 4 months ago.
If they can get it. I almost wonder what the logistics would be for Nintendo to tell China, like, you're going to produce it, and then we're going to ship it to Vietnam, and then from Vietnam, we're going to ship the units over to the U.S., because that might be cheaper for them in the long run than the tariffs. To just ship it from one country to the other and say that country made it, throw it in a box that says made in Vietnam, and then ship that over to the U.S. So that's what Nintendo's looking to do. So you would imagine 46% tariff or 46% price increase to the Switch 2 is what they're aiming for, if that holds up. Previously, I think it was a 10% tariff on it, so like bumped up to 46%. We're looking at a $600 console if everything holds true. Phones and computer parts have been made exempt from the tariffs because Apple basically like put the muscle on the administration. It sounds like
phones for sure. I don't know. I mean,
computer
I was
parts
reading
were
something.
included. Yeah,
but like pre-built computers. Like I think if you're trying to order a graphics card or order a motherboard or order a processor, I think that's a little different than if you order a PC.
It just depends on who books more hotels and golf courses. With the administration, who's going to get that. So yeah, it sounds like computer parts, but they weren't. It was one of those. We've been getting a lot of like blanket statements that like then later on we find out there's more to it. So phones for sure, pre-built computers, because Apple basically kind of put, they strong-armed them a little bit of just like, hey, let's do something about this. Video games were not exempt. To be fair, like that party has kind of been not fans of video games in general the last like decade or so. No. So I don't see, Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony being able to like convince them to make exceptions for video games. So we're kind of going to be stuck with whatever happens here. But yeah, Dave, if you're Nintendo, like, are you stressing the fuck out right now? Or are you just like, we'll get through the storm because we're Nintendo?
I think a little bit of both. I think that it's not directly impact. It's not having like a direct impact like today, like to the point where they've got units in the country. Potentially there's units in Mexico or Canada also that like if that they can move things around. I mean, these are all businesses. These are all smart people. And these are companies that for the most part like know what they're doing. But I do think that eventually, the hurdle is going to arrive. Like, it just depends on how long some of this stuff acts. Like, this is directly impacting my job right now. So it just really kind of shows like how directly this is going to have an impact, how long, how much. There's the belief that it can't stay so high for so long. Like, this is just a strong-willed person or strong-willed administration versus a strong-willed country. There's a lot of dynamics going on into it, and it's just leaving some uncertainty. But I think that I truly believe in trusting systems and processes, and that will let them do their jobs. Like, let them do their jobs, whether you agree with it or don't agree with it. What the administration is doing, what the administration is not doing, et cetera, et cetera. That we as foundationally, it can be a little rocky sometimes, but foundationally, as a country, we have systems and processes in place that have worked for a very, very, very long time. Some of it needs to be tweaked a little bit. Some of it doesn't need to be tweaked, but at its core, like stuff should shake out. The current administration just really, really, really likes to rock the boat.
Yeah.
And have some pomp and circumstance going on. And that's kind of what I feel like we're getting. And it's just it's lasting and acting a little bit longer than I thought it would.
Yeah. Not to get too like political, but like the thing that I think will ultimately save us is like, so currently the current administration, it like you said, it's a lot of pomp and circumstance. They're trying to break as many things as possible for whatever reason. Like, we won't go into that. But what might save us is being a very capitalist country that's run by companies. Mm-hmm. Is why Apple was able to be like, no, our fucking phones are going through, our computers are going through, and it's like, okay, cool, they are. Amazon will definitely step in at a certain point being like, our whole business is selling cheap shit from other countries on our platform. You're going to see those companies kind of step up and make a lot of noise. And it's going to be one of those things where, since we are a capitalistic country, the stock market, we've already seen it take like 3 or 4 swings in the last week, one way or the other. And whatever happens with the stock market, when it goes into red, they back down a little bit. It goes into green. They do something. It goes a little into red, and then we back and forth, to where I feel like the companies that are actually running things aren't going to let things go that far. But it doesn't mean we're not going to have a rocky 90 days or whatever it's going to be, which means this could be like a rough time for Nintendo come the holidays, depending on like if things aren't figured out by then.
Yeah, the stock situation is not going to get better.
No, like, but it's going to keep swinging back and forth.
Yeah, but that's the part where the stock situation suffers. If they can get them in the country, you're going to see like, oh, it's easy, and like I'll just throw some dates out there. It's easy in mid-June. Like, oh, a whole bunch of units came into the country in mid-June, and they're gone by early July. And then it tightens up again, and like, oh, we don't like, they're scarce for July, August, September, and then it swings the other way again. And then they're available October 1st to October 15th, and then poof, they're gone, because like people are like just pouncing when they're available. And this happens with just retail price. And then to your point, like, gosh, who knows what would happen with any kind of scalper prices. I mean, I've even toyed with the idea there's certain things that are kind of on my list that have always been on my list. Like, I'll just use the generic example, and I even looked into it, and I don't think it would fall under this window. But like, if I'm gonna buy Owen like a really cool Lego set for Christmas, like, maybe I need to buy it now. Like,
no,
now.
but that could be an issue because then you have to check. Okay, I think those are like Sweden or Finland. It's like, what is the tariff they're going to get hit with 90 days?
Right.
Might be worth.
Well,
buying
my
now.
concern is in my mind if it's going to be if I was going to buy him a cool Lego set for like $150 and I go to buy it in September, October, is it going to be $250?
Or
like,
is it not going to be there because they scalped it now?
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of one of these things where it's like, there's I'd have to really backdate it in my mind, but like my PlayStation 5 is original, is OG. Like, and there could be a time where, God forbid, you turn it on and poof, it just, like,
I mean, we'll
it can
talk
happen.
about in the next story, what's happening around the world. But yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Do I need to buy a Pro? Should I buy a Pro? Should I buy another PlayStation? Like, I mean, obviously I need to buy another PlayStation, but I meant, do I buy another basic PlayStation? Like, do I?
Yeah.
And why at that point in time? Like, it's like only like 50 or currently it's only like $50 or $75 more for the Pro. Like, I'd kind of be a fool not to buy that. We're in the process of potentially like redoing our bedroom, and maybe I move the TV from the living room to the bedroom, which means I need a new TV for the living room, which means I need to do research and get one that's going to be HDMI 2.1 and 4K and all that, all that stuff. And do I buy that now, or do I wait this whole thing out and buy it next year? Like, there's so many things that are factoring into people's decisions, and I hate being like pawns on a board.
Yeah.
Regardless of what your political beliefs are, we're pawns on a board.
Yeah, we're fodder. Like, as normal citizens, we are fodder. We're pawns. Like, we're just watching at this point. Like, November of next year is when like stuff can happen, but like for the next year and a half, it's gonna be kind of rough. But now I'm in the same boat where I'm like, there's stuff I want to buy for the house, and I'm just like, okay, steel might be okay right now for a little bit. Oh no, the thing I want is made out of wood bad right now. Or will be bad soon. So I'm having to make decisions on that for just like household
wood bad
stuff.
right now.
Yeah, no, but that's where we're at now, where I'm just like, what is the fucking thing made out of? Okay, if I buy it from America, it's going to be made out of cardboard.
I can't wait for some app to blow up that's going to be like do you remember, like, and it still exists, because I did some like travel stuff, and I don't want to go on a long tangent on this, but like, Hopper. Do you remember Hopper is like the travel app where it'll like notify you like the best time to book a flight? Like, what if there's going to be some kind of like tariff app?
No, so
the best time.
It's TikTok right now. So right now what's going on with TikTok is a lot of the factories from China have been making TikTok accounts and have been like, hey, that designer fucking purse that you buy for like $300? We're the factory that makes it. Buy this purse from us. We'll teach you how to pay the tariff. It'll be cheaper than if you buy it from the brand. And like, these are the actual factories that are making these goods. So now, like, if you're on
even for
TikTok,
me, like, I'm
happening.
A sneakerhead. I'm a sneakerhead. None of my no Jordans or Nikes are made in the United States ever.
No, most of Philippines now.
Yeah, Vietnam? Maybe. I think Vietnam, Indonesia. Yeah, which is essentially.
But they're going to be
East
hit
Asia,
with like
I think.
Crazy amount of tariffs. And also, what a lot of people don't realize is sometimes those countries, it starts in China and then the logos get slapped on in the other countries. So like, there's still going to be like some tariffs of a certain extent.
And also, I'm just terrified in general of. I'm trying to think about the best way to word this. Like, overall course correction. Like, in terms, we saw a little bit of this post-pandemic where like things like just became like, oh, you can go out and go into a store, and we saw what happened when everybody had the opportunity to go in a store. There was like gangbusters.
Yeah.
Versus like, I'm just worried about like logistically, like boats coming into the country. Like, I'm terrified that I don't want to turn the news on and see like 3 freighters like crash into each other,
which
we
saw
trying to get into a
post-pandemic of like the stuff getting stuck in
like
canals.
all of a sudden like the port's getting open and it turns into like the mafia scene of who can get their boat into the canal the fastest.
I was seeing videos already, like when stuff was first announced, of people like destroying Costco's basically to try and get as much toilet paper as possible. Like, soon as we get word of like, hey, supply is back, you're gonna have people that are gonna go crazy. for the stuff, especially when we're talking video game wise. Like, we're going to see a lot of craziness happen for the Switch 2's launch in terms of people just like, I got to get it, and I got to scalp it. And then you're going to have like, when they're like, hey, everything's back to normal, you're going to still have people then go nuts because they're going to act like they needed the Switch 2 to live. And you know, not that it's like a silly video game console.
In the end, the consumer is going to lose, because if it turns into something like that, like Mario Kart World as an example, like, oh, like, you know, Sam's and Best Buy and Target got 1 million units, and everybody and their mother's like, I haven't been able to get this for like 6 weeks, and then they sell out. Nintendo's like, cool, the $80 or $90 price point works, let's keep it up.
No, and I was just about to say, you're telling me if they have to raise the Switch 2 to $600, say all the tariffs go away magically to 0%, they won't. It'll probably be like 10%.
It's not going back down.
Yeah, they're going to be like, what? It's still selling. It's pretty well at $600. Like, they're not going to drop it $150. They're going to be like, this is the new price of the system. Thank you, guys.
The course correction is what terrifies me the most.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what, because then, like, ultimately, like, in reality, guys, like, from a video game standpoint, if Nintendo can sell let's use a $600 price point. If Nintendo can sell their console at $600, how much will the PS6 be? $900?
No,
1,000?
and then like, that's that's what, you know, PlayStation and Xbox or Microsoft are worried. You know, like, they're not worried about it. It's a win-win for them either way. It's like, this stuff goes away and we can just continue to sell our stuff.
Because even if the tariff stays and you can sell a PS6 at $1,000, your profit margin is the same.
Yeah, because you're just going to push it
$600
to the customer. Yeah.
So, like, but that's the concern. And then you're going to see other stuff that's even potentially made in the US, made in Canada, made in Europe, made in Asia, that's going to raise prices just because the market dictates that it has to. Like, this is the way that the economics function. If you sell a basket, if I make a basket that I make it in the United States and I sell it for $20 because I made it by hand and I made it in the United States, and so my competitor, my neighbor, it like ships their stuff in from China and they sell it for like $10, and then they're able to sell theirs, like, now the tariff exists, so they have to sell theirs for $20. Like, why wouldn't I raise mine?
Yeah, no, and that is going to happen, and prices aren't going to deflate. Like, it's going to set new standards for the competition, and it's going to lead to just like higher prices in general for everybody. Consumer doesn't win on this.
It's going to devalue all economic funds, all money, regardless of the country it comes from.
And moving on to the next thing is Sony is raising the prices again for digital PS5s in the UK, Europe, and Australia. So prices will increase yet again for those regions, anywhere from 40 to 100 euros. I'm just going to say euros because I know not all of those countries use euro, but it's $40 to $100 in that currency. This is the second price increase from Sony, and this time it's due to inflation and fluctuating exchange rates. So not a direct result of tariffs, but tariffs probably don't help the general economic world.
Bullshit.
What was that?
Sorry, it's just bullshit. So, like, they're just, it's the same thing. They know they're going to raise prices in the United States. They're raising them in Europe beforehand because they know they're raising them in the United States.
Yeah.
Like, it's happening.
And so this is going to sound crazy to some people, but because the US is the biggest market, there could be a little bit of how much can we raise the prices in other countries before we have to raise the US price? Like, it becomes a game of margins at that point. So it's a possibility. They're like, hey, we're going to make these countries eat it a little bit so we can delay raising the prices in the US. The disk drive consoles and pros will not see a price increase, and the standalone disk drive has actually seen a price reduction of about $10 of equivalent in those countries. Sony did...
Those units aren't moving enough to warrant this.
Yeah.
The digital console is obviously selling more. This is proving that. And the fact that the disk drive is getting a $10 reduction means that it even is not moving units at all. So people are like, no, I'm not, I'm just going to go more. It's like, Michael hates this statement, but more and more and more people are going to go, fine, digital's good enough.
Especially if that's just what's available in the stores. They're just going to naturally
go
that. Especially, like, I hate it, but like, as a consumer, sometimes I'm lazy to where I'm just like, so I got to buy fucking two things? Like, no, just give me the one.
Or
thing.
you leave thinking you had the second thing and you don't have it, and you're like, I'm not going back.
Yeah, you're just like, fuck it, I'm not dealing with this. It took me this long to get it. Sony did warn more regions could see price increases soon.
It's almost like you and I worked retail for 20 years.
Yeah. I honestly do think this is, it definitely the exchange rate is definitely fluctuating like crazy right now because it is like, global economy. But I do think this is just a combination of just everything of we are increasing prices everywhere because we're trying to push it off in some of our bigger markets.
Yeah, it's a global economy problem because we live in a economic superpower country.
Yeah. Like there's a reason why like when stuff was announced, like everything kind of broke around the world. This sucks, man. I honestly would say this is the third price increase that Sony's done. So we had the first one back in, I think, August 23. And then I would include the Slims as a price increase because every generation, the Slim consoles come with a price drop because the console is cheaper to make. And that year, we didn't see a decrease in price at all for the Slims. There was a little bit of an increase on some of that pricing stuff, especially when you include the disc drive.
And we know, like, retailers know the Switch 2 is coming. Like, we know it's coming in less than 2 months as of recording the show. And I'm not seeing bundles. I'm not seeing sales. They're not even in a high priority. Companies aren't even in a high priority to move the Switch 1 units. They're just like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, if we don't have the 2s, maybe they'll buy the 1s.
Yeah.
And who knows? Like, it's a very, very interesting thing right now. And this also, like, in the immediate time frame, like we might never realize this is going to affect the next generation of consoles from PlayStation and Sony, and therefore a graphics card also, because they're probably just going to be like, we're just going to pause research and development on new stuff right now for about 6 months.
Yeah, this is going to prolong this generation, which already feels super long, even though we're only halfway through it. Like, yeah, I also can see like Nintendo, like, they probably have a surplus of Switch 1, Switch Lites, Switch OLEDs already in the US, around the world, in different countries. I could see them dropping the price on those units just to sell something if they do have to release a Switch 2 at $600.
Because what did we get? I guess this just jumped in my head. Is it Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World are the only two, like, and the new, the new From Software game are the only two, Dustblood's
next year. Yeah.
Okay. So are the only two Switch 2 exclusive games, right?
That wheelchair game, I believe, is the launch game, but that's I think digital only, most likely.
But is it coming to Switch?
No, that's Switch exclusive because it uses the
Switch
mouse
2
controller.
exclusive.
Yeah, Switch 2 exclusive.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So do you see what I'm saying though? Like they can deal with this kind of being like their PS5 Pro and say, oh, cool, if it sells all right now, but it's a longer play. You know, like, because there's not any like must. Yes, Mario Kart potentially is a must get. Donkey Kong for me is a must get. But like the other marquee titles, Metroid Prime 4 is going to work on Switch 1. And some of these other things, like they're not, like there's a new Zelda coming out and there's a new 3D Mario coming out, like that's only on Switch 2. So in terms of like moving the units, like right now isn't necessarily the highest priority.
I honestly, this may sound silly, Dave, but I can see Nintendo working with their R&D team right now being like, okay, Switch 2 is going to be $600 by the holidays, regardless of what we do. Hurry up, and we need the Switch 2 Slim or the Switch 2 Revision, so then we can sell it for $450, $500 as a price reduction thing, and make that the priority. I wouldn't be shocked if we're at that point with Nintendo of just like, we know we're going to probably increase the price significantly on this at some point. We need to think of the Switch 2 Slim, the Switch 2 Revision, whatever we can to make the insides of that machine cheaper. We need to do it. Like we could end up getting like the Switch 2 Lite earlier than we expect because they're just like, you know what, it's cheaper if we just take the magnets out of the Joy-Cons and they're just stuck on the machine itself. Why do we have two USB dongle, two USB ports on this thing? Let's get rid of one of those. There's already things that they could probably cut that wouldn't be a big deal to people in order to like keep prices down. So not too surprised by anything at this point that could potentially happen. Right. But we'll move on to the next one. This is just a quick one. Elder Scrolls Oblivion screens basically leaked. And a shadow drop is expected next week. Virtuos is the developer supposedly on this game, and basically someone scraped their website and then were able to pull screenshots that were hidden on their website showing comparisons to the original 2006 game and a 2025 version of the game on their website. Looks really good, way more of a remake than I was expecting, but a lot of outlets are saying it is going to be shadow dropped, and it is going to be shadow dropped next week. It'll be Xbox and PlayStation and PC.
So who's having the event?
I guess Bethesda would just say fuck it.
No, I know. This isn't something that you can just like release a trailer for and say available now. So unless today's Tuesday, so if it's happening next week, like we should hear something. And usually we have more lead time on Xbox developer directs. Mm-hmm. I could see it potentially be a state of play thing. Like maybe this deal was signed, before the Bethesda Xbox acquisition.
But Xbox just announced June 8th for their showcase, so definitely won't be anything from them.
Yeah. So you can't shadow drop this in silence, though, right? Do you agree with me or no?
I think Bethesda's big enough that if they want to do their own stream or do what Bungie did this past weekend with Marathon, they could probably do that. Because this isn't like going to rock the world.
By now we would have heard about it, though.
If this gets shadow dropped, I could see them just being like, hey, we have an announcement tomorrow, and it's just like a full reveal of what's going on, but it's not going to be like a big celebration.
You don't think there would be any like they would actually name Elder Scrolls 6 and say, oh, by the way, go play Oblivion now?
No, it would just be like, hey, Oblivion, it's...
Seems like a waste of time and resources, in my opinion, but whatever.
To just put it out before this, because if this is going to be shadow drop next week, it'd be weird why you just don't wait till the showcase in June and shadow drop it then.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It seems super weird, but everyone seems pretty confident that it's going to be there. And now that we've seen the game via screenshots from the developer's website, means it's coming. It's just a matter of like, is it actually going to be shadow dropped? Is it going to be shadow dropped next week? I think it's kind of silly to do it next week as well. I think just do it for the showcase. All right, let's get into the meat of everything. Bungie held a live stream where they showed a gameplay trailer, gameplay breakdown. I think they showed content creators playing the game. It was like a 20-minute video, and then we got a cinematic trailer. Is that everything pretty much that was shown Saturday?
Yeah. Okay.
So they dropped all of that. Marathon will be a premium release, which means it's not free to play. They did not say the price, though Concord was, I believe, a $40 game, so maybe.
And they also said it's not I think they said it's not a $70 game.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's going to be a $40 to $50 game. And it is launching September 23rd for the PS5, Xbox Series, consoles, and PC. There will be no PSN requirement for Xbox or PC. The basic premise for this is players fight over loot, which they must extract successfully. With to collect. If a team dies, their loot can be collected by other players. Bungie has also confirmed that it will allow players to play the game without the need of a full squad. However, this will be substantially more challenging. Dave, I don't know where you exactly want to start with this. You're the Bungie person. I'm the shooter person. So I think we both can tackle this in different ways. But how do you feel they showed the game or showcased the game?
Below average. It was a very boring stream. Did you watch it?
No, so I was at a convention all weekend, so I watched everything separate, like all the videos separately.
Okay.
Unless there was some interstitials, it seemed very...
They had 4 people that have been working on the game. They talked to them. They did pretty much what you wanted them to do. They did not do like, we are Bungie. This is what we do. They didn't do any of that. They kind of got right into it. It's hard because I knew, like in my heart, I knew what this was, and then it was exactly what I thought it was, which is a game that I don't want to play.
Yeah.
And it looks overly complicated. I mean, I still registered for the alpha. Like, I'm going to try it. I may or may not buy it. Apparently it's coming out the same day as Borderlands 4.
I don't think that's that big of a big deal.
I don't, because it's two separate player bases.
Yeah.
But this is. I feel like this is what they necessarily wanted to do in Destiny's PvP Crucible, dialed up to like 15.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is what they hoped that they could have done with their Crucible, and then they realized that they weren't going to be able to do it, and then they said they wanted to make another high-end competitive esports game, and then the esports scene changed, and the extraction thing came up. Because it seemed like it was a lot of it seemed like what I saw was a lot of Tarkov content creators. Like they are specifically going after a certain niche, and that niche is not Destiny. Nor do I think it's Halo either. And this is a very much of a passion project for some of these Destiny competitive players, like the Bungie competitive devs. Like this is their passion project, and in the state, I hate to say it this way, the state that Bungie's in right now, I'm very worried because it does not seem like the reception for this was very good.
Yeah, I would say so. I had mixed emotions going through this in the order I watched it. I watched the original gameplay trailer. I then saw the gameplay breakdown. It was like 5-minute video, 2-minute or like 1-minute trailer, 5-minute video. Then I watched the content creator thing, even though I don't really like watching content creators. And then I watched a cinematic trailer. My emotions were, okay, this looks okay. I don't know if I like the clean art style. Like it's very clean sci-fi. It reminds me of the Finals a lot, if the Finals was more sci-fi. And then I saw the content creators and I'm like, okay, this is still good Bungie shooting. I did like the intensity of the PvPvE. They did do a good job of explaining, like, hey, if you do want to play it solo or you just want to play with a crew that like tries to avoid combat, you're just literally there gathering loot, you can do that. That intrigued me a lot because I survive a lot of Battle Royale games, even though this isn't a Battle Royale game. I survive a lot of Battle Royale games by avoiding combat until the very end. So I'm like super kitted out and then I can, take on whoever's left. So I could see that kind of working this way in this extraction shooter. And then they got to the cinematic trailer, which was like an 8-minute cinematic. And I went from like, this game looks a little too generic for me to like, I really like that cinematic. That cinematic sold me more on the game, even though I know none of that's going to be in the game. But it at least intrigued me enough to be like, maybe I can give this game a shot. I don't know how they will tell story. They keep saying like you'll discover secrets and stuff like that as you're playing. We'll see how that is. It could just be audio logs. It could just be environmental storytelling. We don't know. They could do the Concord thing where you get a cutscene every season or something like that, like Apex and Overwatch have done. But I would say like the style that they showcased in that cinematic was really fucking good. But I didn't see that style translated into any of the gameplay that I saw.
I just saw ultra high time to kill. Ultra high.
Yeah. But they at
very
least
short. Like you feel like you get one shot at playing playing Call of Duty or playing Destiny or playing Battlefield now. Don't play this game because you'll feel like you get like looked at and you're dead.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, especially it looked like the NPCs that are fighting, they look like they actually can do damage because they just come into waves, basically, it seems.
They can, yeah.
But that looks like it keeps things interesting. I just want to know, though, like, if this is all about, like, collecting loot, bringing it back, and I'm guessing, like, you're just getting stuff and then exchanging it for, like, whatever in-game currency you're getting. Are you taking the loot that you get in this game? I can take it into the next game. So does that mean you could be super OP and over-equipped for your next game? Why are you collecting loot as in money and stuff like that for? Is it for the cosmetics that we kind of saw in the cool cinematic, or is it just going to be what we saw here? I don't know if I see the carrot on a stick for this, other than like, hey, Bungie shooting is top tier. And is that
but like I
enough?
guess my question to you is, do you have two other friends that you're going to want to play this and get comfortable with and learn their styles and their play, and like to where you're going to do 3 times a week with the same two partners? because that's the only way you're going to be successful in this game.
I, as someone who has been told many times when they play multiplayer games that are supposed to be for groups that you can't have fun with it, I always have fun with it. The only concern I have is because I have a small group of people I can play with.
Yeah.
But it's like 4 or 5 people, which means we can't fully get together if we want to, which could be problematic. I know they probably did the science of just like 3 people is the best this game works at, but you are going to run to instances where like your Bungie group, or your Destiny 2 group, it could be a sizable group. You're like, hey, let's play. And if you have odd numbers or something that doesn't work with the 3v3, you're going to run into issues there.
I agree with you, except for the only thing is that if you go in a group with 2, you're going up against a group of 3. If you go in as a group of 1, as a solo player, you're going against a group of 3. Like, I don't think this game is going to scale based on you. It's going to.
We'll see if they have some sort of matchmaking though, in terms of like, hey, like
they said they didn't.
Did they say that separately? Because I know they said you could
like
go
solo.
in solo.
No, like in the thing, like you can go in solo and prove your worth against other teams of 3.
I wonder though if there's an option of like, do you want to solo queue or do you want to solo matchmake with other solo players?
I doubt it. I doubt it. Like they can't have.
I feel like that could be something they add potentially because they might need to.
So Matt Lowe writes in our chat, like it didn't capture the imagination of Destiny players. Is it not a good thing to go for other players outside of the interest of Destiny? Sure, 100%. It's a great thing to go for other players outside of Destiny. But this is, but at the same time, like Destiny has been your game for 10 years. When Naughty Dog made The Last of Us, they went right after the Uncharted audience. And now when they're making Interstellar, they're going after The Last of Us and the Uncharted audience fans. Like there's a lot to think about in there. And how many of those players or those outside players are going to know that Bungie is the top tier shooter? And to where that mechanic is important to them. Are you going to get a Tarkov player to stop playing Tarkov? So
what I think is going to be key for them is it being a premium title could bite them in the ass. Because I feel like Bungie does have the pedigree that a Tarkov player is like, I want to see what Bungie's doing now.
Yeah.
Especially if they're like, Destiny had the problem where Destiny has gone on so long that it's daunting for someone new to jump in without being like, let me look up a fucking wiki for what I can and can't do and what I need to do. So if they're like, hey, it's an extraction shooter, you might be like, okay, cool, I don't need to know shit. I could just play and it's just whatever and it's Bungie shooting, that's fine. But we're in the market of shooters, multiplayer games, our live service games need to be free to play. So if you tell a Tarkov player, like, hey, Bungie's got a new game, they're like, cool, I'll download it. Actually, it's $40, $50. That's enough for them to be like, no, I'd rather put that money into whatever free-to-play game that I'm playing right now.
Or half that money.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. It's like, that's like 3 seasons of content for some of these games.
Yeah, and I just feel like you have to, in this competitive market that you're in right now with these shooters, like that are going against like free to play shooters, like we've talked about, you cannot afford to swing and miss, and then if you're going to charge for it, like you have to hit a home run almost out of the freaking ballpark, like out of the stadium. It's not acceptable to just eke it over the fence. Like that's not acceptable because you've got to get these players in, and then you have to get them in for their commitment. Like there was a lot of things that I saw that I was just kind of like looking at the men. I mean, I don't play enough of these games. I don't play Tarkov. I haven't played any of these, like Counter-Strike Go. I haven't played any of this stuff. Okay, but I don't know if you felt this way. If you saw this in the content creation, those menus, that UI looks overwhelming.
That was something that was very confusing because it's just like, hey, you're collecting whatever loot you can, and I'm looking at the loot like, what am I looking for? Like, do I want to just take the shield? I saw some things that just had generic currency on them. How much can I carry? Am I dropping stuff off? Am I limited to how much loot I can take? When can I leave? Like, what if I find something really cool?
How do I leave? Yeah, we know how to leave, but like, when is that available?
Yeah, or is it like there's a timer on the match and it's just like, I'm going to hide in a closet now, and just hope the extraction thing comes.
It looked very heavy. Again, in my opinion, it looked very heavy mouse and keyboard. Like it just looked very heavy.
I'm confident enough with Bungie. They probably just had a lot of streamers,
Yeah. But you're trying to bring an extraction shooter to consoles, and where you've done it with Destiny, you did MMO Lite with Destiny. on console, Destiny 1. And now you're trying to bring something that really the only extraction shooter we've ever seen on console is Rainbow Six Extraction, right?
There's been others, but Rainbow Six is the like top tier extraction game. It's not that complicated.
You're trying to hop this fence, and I don't know. Maybe there's going to do some more. Maybe they're going to talk about more. They're already in this balancing act, though. Like, this is what I was worried about. So we got this, April 12th or whatever it was. It was the 12th. We got the marathon reveal. Okay, May 6th, we've got the Destiny reveal. There's a new Destiny content coming. Like, and it's kind of like going, like you're kind of playing this game of ping pong. And like, I hope, like, I saw the live stream. I saw the staff that was there on a Saturday, the Bungie staff. Like, it still looks like a very large studio. If that's the marathon team, like, what size is your Destiny team? Like, there's a lot going on.
Well, and then we have the closed alpha starting the 23rd. It said it's going to run for 2 weeks if you sign up through the Discord and all that stuff. Yeah. I wonder though, like, if it's a premium title, $40, it has to launch with more than one mode, right? Like, if it's going to be $50.
Three maps. I think they said 3 maps, and I don't remember. I'd have to see again if there's, but I think there really is just extraction.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
and also 3 maps is not enough for like a premium title on day one.
They only really have plans for 4. I think in general, 3 maps at launch, 1 coming. Yeah,
that's fucking crazy. If you look at what like the free to play games do.
And I generally don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I don't, but we've never seen a Bungie release 2 games concurrently. I have 2 games active in development concurrently.
I think they're a big enough studio that they can handle.
I know. I agree with you, but they haven't done it.
Yeah. Well, I honestly
similar to my concern with Naughty Dog making a live service. It's similar. So,
but I genuinely think you're not going to have to worry about them juggling 2 games, because I don't think there's much to juggle with Destiny 2. I think it's going to be very telling May 6th when they do their next Bungie live stream for Destiny. I don't know why I said it that way. When they do their next live stream for Destiny 2, I think we're going to see very much so that Destiny 2 is not a priority. It's not 50% of their mind space. It's not 40% of their mind space. It's like 20% of their mind space. I feel like Destiny 2 is going to casually see itself move into we just have a team enough to keep the lights on sort of scenario, unless Marathon completely fails.
I would agree with you, except for they just made they've made some broad statements for the next year of Destiny 2 already.
They made some broad statements and got themselves sold to Sony, and that
I mean, since they've made some broad statements about the state of Destiny 2 next year this week.
No, I know, and I feel like they've always done a thing where they kind of overpromise. Sometimes they overdeliver, but a lot of times it's underdelivered. And I'm just prepping the Destiny community for that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm fine. I mean, I got you.
Especially PlayStation's on the board. I think PlayStation's kind of like, let's just move on from this if we can, And I think that's going to be the case with Destiny 2.
But they've already. So here's the deal. Like, so we got Marathon in damn near active, like fully on board, like 100-mile-an-hour development. You got Destiny in 100-mile-an-hour continuous service. They Sony took Project Gummy Bears away from them.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be something Smash Brothers-esque or something like that.
Or MOBA-esque or something.
Yeah. And then to your point, if you start to detour and slow down Destiny 2, what do you do with all these members? Like, that's where more like you can't.
I don't think you go balls.
You can't just move them all to Marathon.
I think if you want Marathon to succeed, you probably have to. Like, they might have I think we're at a point with Bungie where it's like you go to the devs and you're just like, listen, we need to go balls to the wall on Marathon, because right now with this 3 maps in 1 mode feels very undercooked for September. And you lead to them being like, okay, we need to take everyone we can off Destiny 2 to start like Season 2, Season 3, Season 4. We need to get that stuff, get the roadmap going, and we need to hit that in a certain amount of time, or PlayStation's going to make us make Killzone 4. Like, that's where they're at.
I'm with you. I'm 100% on board with what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand it. I just think that I'm really going to have to see what the marketing, and this is really too hard to answer, but what the marketing is going to look like this summer and in September versus is it going to be straight marketing from Bungie? Is it going to be marketing from PlayStation? Like, again, it's very interesting that like Bungie got to do this on their own. Like, there wasn't a PlayStation logo anywhere that I saw on this stuff. Like, and I understand this is part of their deal and I get all that stuff, but like in order to get a new audience, like this belongs like on a state of play. Like this belongs almost getting, because Well, I
was going to say, as someone who I watched everything today because I wanted it to be fresh in my mind. So I watched it like an hour before we started. And the numbers, the cinematic thing barely cracked 1 million views on the Marathon channel. Everything else is in like 800,000 views, 500,000 views, 300,000 views. And then on the official PlayStation channel, it's barely over 100,000 each. Like some indie trailers released a couple days ago have surpassed the numbers for those trailers combined.
Because to your point, Bungie's a marquee name.
Yeah.
But their media stream, their media lane is too narrow. It's too narrow compared to Sony's media lane.
Yeah.
And Sony just retweeting Bungie or copying and pasting Bungie's tweet and putting it on their own account ain't enough.
Yeah, there's no difference between them retweeting some other random game.
Yeah,
like,
it's
because
just not working compared to if they were, sandwiched in a state of play.
And also, during the current, world we live in, a week before the stream, just doing like a glitchy logo isn't enough to catch the eyes.
Well, they capitalized on their classic, our community is going to figure out our ARG.
Yeah.
And they did, but
it didn't even feel like a big ARG.
Right. Right. But to your point, that community is not big enough anymore.
Yeah.
Like because that was the Destiny community you were getting because it was Bungie doing it. I have tweet notifications on for certain things that happen in Destiny, so just so I know that they happen. So I'm like, okay, I don't need to do that. And I was getting information about Marathon on that.
Because they were like, fuck, our main Bungie account was this high, and because Destiny went so long, it dropped to like the medium level. I'm using my hands for the audio listeners. And like it started really high, but then Destiny 2's popularity kept it pretty high, and then it slowly dwindled to where they blast on those media channels, and there's no one really there that gives a shit anymore. And then PlayStation,
and
to
it's
your point,
15.
retweeting.
It's 15 years. Yeah, it's 15 years since a non-Destiny title.
Yeah, I feel like they could have marketed. They should have been teasing this reveal for weeks, not a week. They should have.
This would be very similar to if Insomniac like came out next week and said, "Oh, we're pivoting and going DC now," and they'd be like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
Like, and it's a very broad example that I'm using. Or they're like, "Oh, we're gonna you enjoyed playing Spider-Man, we're gonna make Spider-Woman or something like that," and they're gonna because we're passionate about doing a complete 180 from what we've been doing, and and we kind of saw Insomniac do this with Fuse, like 2 weeks in a row. I'm mentioning Fuse, and it failed.
Well, I would say it's
miserably.
It's more of Fuse than him saying DC, because that's at least a big brand, and that would have got people excited.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree. Yep.
But it does feel like, they're announcing just something random that doesn't really have any history. I know.
Why are you calling it Marathon? Like,
other than
it's
like
a runner,
we own,
because you're runners.
Yes,
they're calling them runners.
100%.
And so now we're gonna, as a runner, you're gonna play Marathon, which is an extraction shooter. Like, the messaging is so jarbled.
And I feel like, again, I think that Cinematic did such a good job of like building a world, but like,
yeah, but to your point, who saw it?
No, exactly. Like, who saw it? And then also, just like, I hate to say it, Dave, but the big thing I hated about Destiny 1, which I know they fixed later on, was like all the cool story bits were on the website. And I worry we enter in the same situation of like, here's an extraction shooter, all the cool lore stuff is somewhere else, or it's in a sub menu in the game. Like, I don't quite know. I almost hope Project Gummy Bears is tied to Marathon somehow, but I know it's tied to Destiny, I believe, or it's its own separate thing. But it's just like, I don't know how you build this IP out, because what they did just kind of felt like what PlayStation used to do when they didn't really love a game. And they're just like, well, we're obligated to retweet this, but it didn't seem like it was a celebration at all. Which I feel like, if PlayStation's not happy with Bungie that they're just like going to let this die, I feel like they have a financial stake, as in they spent $2 billion on Bungie to fucking put some force behind this. So they need to kind of get things rolling. know
Yeah,
how.
but so when does PlayStation take the wheel?
I don't know.
Say, okay, Bungie, you can ride shotgun, but I'm driving.
I feel like it probably already started when it's a premium title.
I disagree. When they're in their studio and doing it on their terms with their community team and their developers.
No. I get that stuff, but in terms of like, hey, I think Bungie would want to release this as a free to play title, especially they're like we're backed by a big company. I feel like they would, but I feel like PlayStation is like premium title, has to be a premium title. We need to get some investment.
We got to make up for Concord loss.
Yeah, we need to get this back, but also PlayStation kind of just shit Concord out. Mm-hmm. They needed to go all out for Marathon because guess what? Marketing sells copies. Mm-hmm. And this doesn't do it. And then also I think the alpha being like heavy NDA'd like crazy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'll play it. And then I was like signing up for it. And it's like, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
I was like,
which is fine.
So
like I'm still going to play it.
It is and it isn't. Not when you're trying to sell the game though.
No,
like,
that's what I'm saying. Like
marketing,
for me
you can't
playing,
stream it.
Yeah.
I don't think you and I can stream it. I don't think you and I can talk about that we played it.
No, actually, neither one of us could sign up for the beta because it says if you're a member of the media, like, can't do this. But we're not really media. We're enthusiasts. But yeah, no, that can hurt it because guess what? Now the only thing that's going to leak is people that are in the alpha that probably didn't like it. You know, the people that like it are going to be respectful of the NDA because, like, you know, that's just how it usually works. And then people that don't like it are going to shit all over it. I already saw... Yeah. The fucking YouTube, I mean, the YouTube videos are already always going to come, but you have the fucking anti-woke crowd who are already jumping on this game, and then they immediately jump to, like, the poor numbers of the game in terms of, like, oh, look at the view count, and look at this.
Bungie going woke, going broke.
Yeah, so that crowd's already jumping on it, and unfortunately, it didn't do numbers enough to build a fan base of defenders, because I haven't really seen any Marathon defenders yet.
It was on a Saturday.
Yeah. I was at a convention all 3 days, and at any point I could have been like, I'm going to watch the Marathon thing when I got back to the house and stuff like that, but I was like, I'm too tired, because I just wasn't that excited for it. And then I realized it's just better if I just save it so it's super fresh before the podcast. But I could have broke that at any point. And I was still. But
if it would have been a new Dragon Age reveal, you would have like, hey, I'm gonna go grab a sandwich. I'm gonna go sit on a chair for 20 minutes and see if this is worth my time.
I would have grabbed the stall and then just gone to the bathroom and just been like, I'm in here, private room. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's what Marathon is. I'm kind of concerned for it. I don't know. Like, if Marathon fails, Fair Games is not coming out. Just so you know, like that's just how that's gonna work. But yeah, no, that was Marathon. That's all the news I had for the week.
All right, so I think we're gonna do a combined playing and watching thing here. Yeah. I haven't really had a chance to play that much stuff. I did watch The Last of Us season 2, episode 1 before recording today, and then you can talk about your convention, and that's pretty much going to be it. So I do have intentions, Angela and I have intentions of playing finishing Split Fiction, I'm sorry. It's just that, you know, we got adult things going on. She's getting ready to graduate with her master's like in 2 weeks. So she's got a lot going on with that. And, you know, that's taking up some time, and she's got some other, we both have some other things that we're balancing. However, I did make it a point and a purpose to watch The Last of Us season 2, episode 1 today. And it's more of what was great about the first season and more of what was great about the game.
Yeah.
Some of the tiebacks and the things, trying to be like walk a delicate line. The rumors were that they wanted more clickers and they wanted to see more of that, and we got it.
Yeah,
already
we got more,
got it.
And we got a big tease of what is coming in that episode in terms of clickers and the infected. Did
you watch that thing at the end of the end of the episode too,
I
after
watched,
the credits?
Yeah,
okay,
because I loved all those at the last season. I skipped those usually.
I was like, this is like an hour and 12-minute episode. I'm like, damn, and then I'm like, oh wait, the episode's over, and then there's like 8 minutes of credits, and then there was something.
So they did basically a lot of shot for shot stuff from the game. They introduced all the characters that we know are going to be here. I was both confused and little like. I'm glad they introduced Abby now, but also I feel like they like jumped real soon to where I'm just I was hoping to drag this out a little bit before Abby.
I think they're going to go back though.
I think they're going to still find a way to drag it out, and it's going to tie into the big clicker thing that is coming.
Yeah.
That they teased, and I think that can drag things out a little bit. They're still going to go the game thing. They already said that.
I think they're going to go back to the time jump they did in the first 5 minutes of the episode, though.
Yeah. Also, the time jumps were happening pretty frequently. I think they will drag it out by jumping back in time a couple times before we get to like the big thing that we're waiting for. But I know it almost feels like if they wanted to, they could do the big thing next episode or episode 3. But I think they will drag that a little bit further based on like the teaser for the entire season. They can drag that out to the end of the season, and they already said like
this is not going to finish. Like the second game is not finishing in the second season.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 seasons for the second game.
Yeah,
and I think they said they have a plan for 4 seasons, 5 seasons, something like that, if they want to. But yeah, I really did like the casting for everyone that we only got a little bit of last season. I think Dina's casting is fucking great. Like she kind of stole the show for me. I think Abby works out pretty well, and Neil Druckmann did do a good job in a interview. I think he did for Variety of just like, because a lot of people, it's so fucking frustrating, Dave. So let me just rant for a second. Yeah. Okay. When the game came out, people were like, Abby too big, I don't like it. And then they cast an Abby who fits the body type that the people that were angry in a game wanted, but now those people are like, Abby too small, I don't like it, and that's super frustrating. And
I think that they're not being patient enough, by the way.
Yeah, and Neil Druckmann did a good thing. Whatever you think about Neil Druckmann, whatever, he's still really good at creative stuff, and he has visions, or a vision. And he said Abby was her size because you had to play as Abby in the game, and you needed Abby to feel completely different than Ellie, or else the game would feel the same too much for how long of an experience it is. You do not have to play Abby in the show because you're watching it, so they did not have to think about how this would affect gameplay, which I think is a brilliant way to explain it to people of like, when you play Abby, she felt completely different, and the only way to do that is to make her like a different body shape. Abby basically played like Joel, and Ellie played like Ellie, and you don't have to worry about that.
When you play Spider-Man and turn into Venom, it plays differently.
Yeah, and they needed to.
When you look at Spider-Man and Venom in a movie, they're the same.
Yeah, and that but it's one of those things where like when you put it in that perspective, it's like, okay, people, please accept Abby for however the actress is, and also to your point, they could ask her to bulk up at a certain point if they wanted to, though they did show her in current time and she didn't bulk up, but it's whatever.
Yeah, she was kind of covered.
Yeah, but also I think they don't have to rush the timeline because like I feel like The Last of Us Part 2 took place over the course of like a couple weeks. And they could be a little bit more realistic with that once, especially if we're talking about 2 seasons. Like, the trip to Jackson to Seattle isn't going to take a day and a half to happen. Like it could take some time, and
it would be it could potentially be an entire episode or episode and a half.
Yeah. Or you do another time jump that says like 6 months later sort of thing,
Yeah.
There's so much that they can do. And I like this episode just made me happy in terms of just like, okay, they know what they're doing. I can't wait to see when it happens, the big thing.
Yeah.
The fan reaction to the people that don't know that is coming, how they're going to handle that. But I imagine it's going to be way more mature than the video game people handled it when the big thing happened. But it's still going to be fascinating. It's going to be Game of Thrones all over again.
This is one of those shows that even Angela said it, and I agree with her. It's very rare that this happens. Like, we haven't watched Reacher season 3 yet because we just want to watch. Like, she's kind of like, I just want to watch it. Try to watch it in like a weekend or in like 2 sittings or 3 sittings or something like that. She has no tangible desire. She, being Angela, she's like, we need to watch this week by week by week. She was already she knows plenty because she's seen me play the first 2 games, so she knows more than plenty. She understands the story. She understands what's potentially coming. And she's also kind of grossed out. So there was you can definitely tell that they got a little bit more money in their budget for season 2 than they did for season 1. That bear, the scene looked awesome.
Yeah.
So like you can definitely see that there's some more fundage in the show, and that it was doing well, and I'm really looking forward to some things that happened in the second game, and kudos to them as well. Like this was even, I don't even necessarily feel like as much in the first season, but right away in the second season, the first episode, there was a lot of homage to the video game, like right away.
Oh yeah,
like right away. It's like the scenes of, you know, with Ellie and Dina, the where they are,
the soundtrack,
you know,
like they had
the lights,
Crooked Still,
like,
I think is the band. They had them there.
Yeah, the lights in the church from the trailers and from the beginning of the game, like that, all that stuff that was, you know, like that was spot on. Yeah, spot on, man. It was just like, even I got a little when you know, brief little spoiler, when she fell through the floor.
Yeah. I remember doing that in the game a couple times.
Yeah, I was like, oh boy, and my wife's like, what? And she's like, this looks familiar, and I was like, this might be a part from the first game. I couldn't remember.
No, it was the second game when they introduced the little clickers. Like when I saw that one, I'm just like, oh, and Sarah was like, why are you nervous? I'm like,
Angela's like, oh, that's a cat. I'm like, that ain't a cat.
Yeah, yeah. No, like literally, I saw that, and Sarah, like, because I made an audible like, oh fuck, I know what's gonna happen. Yeah. She's like, what? I'm like, you'll see. And she saw the little.
Because I thought there was gonna be a second clicker.
Yeah. I mean, we saw the little clicker, which is just like
right.
Yeah.
No, upstairs.
Oh yeah. Well, because Dina outside the window did like 1, 2, and I'm just like, did Dina kill one around the corner that we don't know about? But then we saw the little one, and it's like, oh shit. It was such a good first episode. I'm sad. I think it's only 7 episodes this season. I'm tired of.
I'm sad about that too, but I'm like, then at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I can go through this roller coaster 6 more times.
I literally was like, the last couple weeks, same thing when I talk about the video game for part 2. I've been like, I want to replay part 2. I also want to rewatch season 1, but I remember how emotionally draining each episode was for that show.
I think I could replay Last of Us 1.
I can
replay Last of Us 2.
And especially like you know, like Dave, you don't really get too like emotionally like affected by like video games or TV shows typically.
I would argue that some of that has changed since my father's passing, but I would agree with you, like, historically.
Yeah, historically. But, like, even season 1 for The Last of Us, when we would talk about it afterwards, you would still be like, that episode was a brutal watch. You know, to where it's like, it's not a fun watch, and the game has those moments, too.
Yeah.
So
it's exhausting. Watching The Last of Us is exhausting.
In a good way? Like, it's a weird thing to have to, like, deal with. But yeah, no, like I'm super excited for.
Like I legitimately think there's going to be times that when Angela knows that things are coming, like she's going to like not like as corny as this sounds, she's like, oh, we can't watch this like when it's dark outside.
Yeah,
like and I'll be like, what? You know, like she'd be like, I don't have the mentality to deal with this when it's dark. Now, to be fair, she even at like 7 o'clock tonight when we were watching it, she turned the lights off in the living room. Like she had told Google to shut it down, and I was kind of interested by that. But I think that was more or less she didn't want any potential glare or anything like that. So she knows what she wants and what she's doing for the most part. And but at the same time, there's going to be a couple times where she's it'll be like a Sunday night. Maybe we're going to be running like, okay, so Easter Sunday this Sunday. I think there's an episode this Sunday.
Yeah,
and we're going to be doing all this. Yeah, but we're going to be doing all this Easter stuff potentially, and we're going to come home, and she might be like, I just mentally can't handle that right now.
Yeah.
Like, and like that, and she knows that, and I'll be like, okay, like for the most part, I can disconnect and watch TV just to watch TV. But it's getting, certain shows are getting harder, and Last of Us is one of the harder ones to like just be like, I can just putz around and watch, and like turn, to slow my brain down and watch this show, and you really can't do that sometimes with Last of Us and other shows.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty good. That was pretty much it for you, though, right?
Yeah. So you can do your C2E2 stuff. Yeah.
I did C2E2, which is the comic book convention in Chicago. We do that every year. This is the first year we didn't get a hotel because we just got the house, so we were just like, we can't do a hotel. And also, fucking inflation just ruined hotel prices, by the way, which was just like scary to see.
Airbnbs if possible, but I know at that point in time you're like, I might as well just come home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I got you. I mean,
well, there was a while where hotels,
we're going to Pittsburgh and we're doing Airbnb.
Yeah. So. There was a point last like couple years where hotels were cheaper than Airbnbs, and now we're back to where Airbnbs are cheaper than hotels.
I don't want to go on a tangent, but Airbnbs have kitchens and tables.
Yeah, but they also have bullshit rules of just like, hey, if, here's a map and a mystery to get the key. Make sure you clean up everything from the sheets to the plates to the floor and stuff like that.
Fold your trash bags into origamis before putting them in the can.
We hid cameras around the room, and hopefully there's none in the bathroom. That type of shit I'm not really a fan of with Airbnbs. But yeah, we did C2E2. We got to see they did a Lord of the Ring cast panel, so they had like Andy Serkis. I'll just say the character names. They had Merry, Pippin, Frodo, Sam, Gimli, and Gollum. So they had all the actors there. Okay. So we got to see that panel. It was really good. Gimli stole the show, and Pippin were fantastic. It definitely was worth going for that. I will say inflation also kind of fucked with C2E2. So I think they fit like 1,000 people in the main stage for the panel room. And typically the first like 5 rows are reserved for the VIP people. This year, half the room reserved for VIP people, which was just like, fuck. We barely got into this panel. And it was just kind of bizarre because even the DJ who like does the pre-show was like, hey guys, I'm sorry you guys are all the way back there this time. The VIPs, if we'll take their chairs if they're not here 2 minutes before the show sort of thing. But just seeing that was just kind of like, oh God. But we got to see that panel. We ended up sticking around because there was a Baldur's Gate 3 panel where they had like 4 of the actors and one of the directors for Baldur's Gate 3 there as well. So we got to see that panel as well. And then we just got to like run around the show floor. I noticed a lot of the bigger names weren't there, partially because there was other conventions competing, and also just because these are the times we're in now. I will say it is kind of scary. There was authors there that basically were like, please buy our book now because paper is going to be too expensive, and I don't know if I'm going to do more prints of this book. So there's a lot of independent authors who were just like little concerned with like how tariffs and all that stuff is going to affect them. And it didn't really dawn on me all the little things that are going to be affected by tariffs. Same thing in Artist Alley. There was a lot of Canadian like artists that come down for C2E2, and they were like, please don't pay with a credit card. We're only going to be doing cash right now, or we're going to only do some, ways that, they don't have to be like taxed as hard. So definitely spent more time in Artist Alley trying to spend money there directly to artists, because a lot of them are kind of scared because, they need a lot of supplies to do what they do. So seeing that kind of affected here and there was just kind of wild. I do feel 35 years old because walking and running around did tire me out, which is scary. Dave, I don't know how you do it. But you also
28,000 steps on Saturday at work.
See, I'm down to 12,000 steps at my job now, and I used to be 20 to 30,000 at my previous job. So like it's taken an effect on me of being dropped down so many steps. You got to pick up like a dad sport, man. You got to start find some basketball, like go play golf. Like go just feel like my knees are gonna shatter if I try to pick up basketball again. I might have to just start using the treadmill more.
I got some knee sleeve recommendations for you. HSA approved.
Yeah, I might have to do it. I might have to. But yeah, no. C2E2 was super fun. Again, it was the first time without a hotel, so we all just came back, had people crash at our house. Made us realize that
it's so cool that you have that ability now too.
Yeah, no, it was super great. We do need to do better job of like setting up a guest bedroom, because it was like someone was on an air mattress. We had a futon that was being used as well. So
dude, Amazon, you can get a nice queen size bed frame that you can put together.
That's
yourself,
basically what we're gonna do. Is
a basic Amazon mattress that comes in the box and it opens up and expands, and you'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be great.
That's pretty much it. So bought a bunch of art from C2E2. I started to hang them up. It's nice to actually hang up art. We haven't done that yet, so we hung up a bunch of stuff. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Marvel Rivals Season 2 started. I am afraid to load my character because I believe for the new season they drop you like 9 levels from where you currently were ranked. So that means I'm going to go from diamond to, I think, silver or gold, and I just know there's hell waiting for me when I jump back into it. So we'll see if I'm still motivated to play that. But yeah, I always have big plans of like, I'm going to play a bunch of Switch games while I'm waiting in line, but then I just end up talking to people or just like zoning out at C2E2. So
At 3:00 at work, I had this plan to do something when I get home. And then I get home and I eat dinner, and then I'm like, nope.
Yeah, I want to play Rivals after we talk here, but I'm gonna be like, I'm fucking tired now, so I don't know.
Yep.
I'm getting over a cold still. I think I should be good tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. That post convention.
Con flu, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's brutal. I was off yesterday and I was off today as recovery.
Part timer.
Yeah, no, it's had to. I'm spoiled now. I did my steps for Monday and Tuesday over the course of the weekend.
I'm starting to get to the point now where even when Angela and I are planning vacations and stuff like that, before it'd always be like, oh, we can come back on Sunday and I can go back to work Monday. And I'm like, we either need to come back on Saturday or I'm taking Monday off.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Yeah, and also I'm not stressing myself out anymore about stuff.
Yeah,
like, I need my own time. But yeah,
I wasn't either until tariffs.
Yeah, that is all for me this week.
Awesome. All right, that's going to be our show for this week. As a reminder, you can send us questions using hashtag AskDigitalDays. Thank you for those who are hanging out in the chat and asked some questions in the chat. Specifically, Matt, I'm not sure why you're awake at whatever time it is in Europe right now. You're kind of worrying me, but I'm sure there's some holiday that I don't know about. But yeah, you can send us those questions using hashtag AskDigitalDays. You can post them in Discord. You can, I don't know if Blue Sky uses hashtags, but you can just say, ask, question for the show. Okay. And you can send us them that way as well, or on Twitter. You can, join our Facebook group, join our Discord server. Our Discord server has a Ask Digital Days sub channel in it, so you can put them there as well. We would love to see some questions, and that to be honest with you, the questions would sometimes dictate the agenda. So if there's more questions, then our agenda would be a little shorter potentially, or a little, maybe I would say less filler if we have questions that could be conversation topics for us. So please consider sending those. Yeah, see, Easter holidays, like, yes, I know, but like you get like the whole week off for Easter, Matt. Damn. So yeah, consider posting those questions, and everything else. Patreon.com/DigitalDaysGaming is there also. And with that, I hope everyone has a great week and keep moving forward.
Don't be a dick. See ya.